watch. What? Ooh. So tell me what the problem is, sir. I've got this verruca on my foot. I knew that room 237 was going to come back and bite me in the arse. You could never get away from that. A naked old woman dragging her bits along the floor. They should just attach a couple of mop heads to her nipples and let her clean the hotel. Hey everyone, Big Pauly back for a brand new movie review. Yes, Dr. Sleep. That's right, the sequel to The Shining, starring Ewan McGregor and Rebecca Ferguson, you know, from Mission Impossible and all that kind of stuff. Okay, this is the next chapter of The Shining, and it is the continuing adventure. It is not a remake of The Shining, it's the continuing adventures. Basically, the film starts out in 1980, not long after the first film, and we catch up with Danny and his mum as they come to terms with escaping from the Overlook and trying to piece their lives together. Now, obviously, because this film is so many years later, you can't have the same actors playing Danny and Wendy, his mum. They are good actors, though. Danny is really good, the kid that plays a young Danny. His mum, I can see what they've done with her hair, but to me, she wasn't as goofy as the original Wendy. So then the film zooms forward to 2011. We catch up with an adult Danny who's down on his luck, having his problems, and decides to just get out of town. And a bus trip takes Danny to this small little town, and he encounters this guy played by Cliff Curtis. I can't quite remember what his name is in the film, even though I've only just finished it. And he sees something in Danny, something broken that needs fixing. So he looks after him, gives him a room. But in the meantime, there's this kind of supernatural cult, I said, led by the lovely Rebecca Ferguson, whose name is Rose the Hat. Yes, of all the names you could think of for a film, her name's Rose and she's wearing a hat, so let's call her Rose the Hat. Yeah, and she leads these group that basically they kidnap children, kill them, and suck their steam out. Yes, like their life force, because these beings need to replenish. They need to eat in order to almost be immortal. They can be killed, but they can have long life if they prey on these children and they suck their steam. There's also this little girl called Abba who has these powers and can hear what people say. She can communicate with people telepathically, and she forms a connection with Danny. The little girl knows that this cult group have kidnapped this little boy and killed him and buried him, and she knows where he's buried, and she knows what happened. She can see what happened, and it's up to her and Danny to track these people down and try and defeat them, or else they'll go on killing kids and sucking their life force. So as a companion piece, I'm going to call it a companion piece to The Shining because it is. Now, there are a lot of great scenes in Dr. Sleep, whereas The Shining was all focused around the hotel, the Overlook. Dr. Sleep skips from town to town. You know, we get to see the town squares. You get to see like rooms, hotel rooms and things like that, and various other people's houses. But there are scenes of The Shining thrown in as well, especially when you get to the end of the film, where I don't know how they did it, but it's like they recreated the entire hotel. I'm sure the exterior shots were probably maybe cutting room floor scenes from The Shining, but surely inside they couldn't have done that. They must have actually had to rebuild it, kind of like scene for scene. Even the dreaded old room 237 with a saggy old woman. There are familiar characters in this film as well, such as the two little weird girls. You also have a great scene of young Danny riding his tricycle down the corridor in the hotel, down to room 237. And I don't know. I can't quite pinpoint it. I don't know if that is a scene from The Shining or if that's been recreated. I need to probably go back and look at the kid in The Shining and then compare them. But to me, it looked like the same kid and the same corridor. So if they've recreated that with a different actor that's playing Danny now, then that's pretty on point. There was a scene towards the end of the film when Danny goes back to the overlooked hotel and goes up to the same bar that Jack Nicholson did, and you can clearly see that the bartender is trying to be Jack. He's got that kind of look. Every now and again he raises his Jack Nicholson eyebrow. The hair's supposed to be the same. It's actually Elliot from E.T. playing him. Yeah. So it's clearly supposed to be Jack Nicholson. I don't know why they went with Henry Thomas. Why didn't they just do the Peter Cushing thing, you know, from Rogue One, or a young Robert Downey Jr.? That would have been a lot more believable. But I guess over the years, because, you know, Danny lost his dad many years ago, sometimes your memory fades and you remember, maybe you remember people slightly different, looking slightly different. So I can understand that, but it would have been a great finish if they'd actually used like a de-aged Jack Nicholson. But as a sequel to The Shining and a companion piece, it's a great film. I watched the extended director's cut, which was 3 hours long. None of it was slow. I thought there's going to be at least a slow bit here and there, but not at all. I was gripped for the whole film. The interactions between this cult group were fantastic. All of the actors were great. The interactions between the grown-up Danny and the little girl Abra were great, on point. She was actually a really good actress. So she was very believable and very watchable, and not like you sometimes get annoying kids in films. So she was really good. The picture quality was fantastic. I own the 4K, but I watched the Blu-ray, mainly because I wanted to see the director's cut. So I will try the 4K out so that I can test out the picture quality. But yeah, it was clear, crisp, clean. It was no grain. The sound was in Dolby Atmos, which was fantastic. You get lots of banging, lots of use of the subwoofer with like a heartbeat. Lots of use of the rear channels as well. And when Danny communicated with Abra telepathically, it sounded like it was right above you and it was a booming voice right over your head. So really, really great sound. There are some special features on the 4K, including From Shining to Sleep. Author Stephen King and director and cinematography Mike Hannigan, I think that is, look back at the original novel and classic film to discuss how they took on the sequel. Fantastic. Plus the making of Dr. Sleep, a new vision, and the return to the Overlook. So really, I should probably watch the Return to the Overlook because that will probably answer a lot of questions about how they redesigned it and how they brought it back. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So how would I actually rate Dr. Sleep? I believe I gave The Shining 9.5. I'm gonna give Dr. Sleep 9 steam-sucking cult members out of 10. Yeah, not quite up to The Shining standards. It was a great sequel or a great companion piece. And we very rarely get a film that almost matches up to, you know, the original for excitement and mystery. But this was a great film, but I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. So I hope you enjoyed my review of Dr. Sleep, the sequel companion piece to The Shining. If you did like the video, give it some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and share. Comment down below, which one do you prefer, Dr. Sleep or The Shining? Don't forget to stay away from room 237. And if you wake up one morning with a fluffy white pussycat on the bottom of your bed, yeah, it's your time. sugar.